Hello, everybody. It's your girl, Angie Clay, and I am back with another Liberate and Lather interview with Melody Box Co. We have the beautiful Josie Brown and the beautiful Sarah Ullman here today with us. And so they're going to be here talking about their business. And one of the reasons why I wanted to interview these two lovely ladies is because of their occupation. So when we talk about self-care, there's different keys to self-care. And one of the things with self-care is occupational wellness. And that is finding a job that really serve you like on a really deep level. So many people have jobs that they hate going to. They sit at the desk, they come in at 8 a.m. and they watch the clock till break. They watch the clock till lunchtime. And after lunchtime, they want to know when the next break and when it's time to go home. So when you find a job that really allows you to help other people, to implore all of your abilities to let yourself shine creatively, really digs into self-care. And so when I met these two ladies and learned a little bit about their background, I was just like, wow, they have hit it. So I'm just so excited to introduce you to them and talk about their business and what they do. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us, Angie.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you so much for coming. So before I start my interviews, I like to put people on the spot slightly. And I think you guys are going to be a whiz at this. So I usually start it off with a prompt, a journaling prompt. So I'm going to give you a word. And so you just tell me like what the word how it makes you feel, or the first things that come to your mind. Okay. So, but I am sure that this is nothing for you guys. All right. So the daily prompt today is yearning. When you hear that word, what do you think? Sarah, Josie, whichever one, whoever wants to go first.
Yearning. That to me makes me feel like purpose.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first word that I thought of. So I have a yearning to have purpose and also help others to feel purposed, and to have a purpose and let them know that they have meaning. And that's kind of what my heart yearns for, is to make sure people know that.
Yeah. I think for me, it makes me think of journey, like that yearning, that longing for, to reach a destination. And for me, I really find so much value in the process and the journey of it rather than the product altogether, because there's so much to be learned along the way, and that just yearning to learn more and be better and continue to grow. So that's what it is for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And so the reason why I said it's going to be easy for these two ladies is because, drum roll, they are songwriters and they have majored in music. And their entire, their lives is surrounded, nice little cushion, around music. And so I really want to talk about that. So tell me, I want to hear your story. So you both go way back.
Yeah.
So how did you two meet up?
Yeah, so we're both actually from Indiana, and we currently live in South Florida. Mm-hmm. So the journey behind that is that we both went to school for music therapy. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about occupational self-care, that really resonates with both of us, because not only are we songwriters and we have a small business, but we're both full-time hospice music therapists. Mm-hmm. So we are providing music and meeting clinical goals of those at the end of their lives. And so we both went to the same college for music therapy. So we've known each other for several years.
Seems like forever.
Yeah, it seems like forever. We both went to school together. Josie's actually a year behind me. And so I graduated, and for music therapy, you do a 4-year degree, and then you have to complete a 6-month internship, and that's independent of your university. And so I came down to South Florida to do my internship. And a year later, Josie kind of reached out to me and said, hey, how's that internship? And I'm like, come on down, the water's fine. Yeah. Florida. And then we just became inseparable. Mm-hmm. got down here for the internship, and we both got jobs down here. We work for the same company now.
Yeah.
And it's just been a really cool journey.
That's awesome. So how did so tell me, how does music help people, like in your career that you're doing now in the hospice? Like what do you feel helps people relax and helps them through this hard time in their lives?
I think one big part about what we do is bringing in music in a way that um, enhances autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for the patients that we see, a lot of times they're in a situation, they're in a place in their lives where they don't have a lot of control. So
Mm-hmm.
what we do is we come in and we never are structured in what we do. It's always we're coming in and we're meeting the patient where they're at that day. You know, if they're feeling a little sad, we'll sit in that sadness with them, you know. And so I think that music is so great in at the end of life because it not only kind of has a way of restoring that humanity that I think sometimes is lost when a person has a terminal illness. But there's so many creative avenues that you can go down to address those goals and those and talk about those subjects that might be a little hard to discuss in just conversation. Sometimes a song says it better than you would with your own words. So
Right. Okay. And you know, it's funny. I have a master's degree in counseling, right? And so then there's like a doctor. You can be the general practitioner, but then there's a doctor that studies, you know, the brain. You know, like it's different parts of the body that someone can really major in and like excel in. And so sometimes you forget, even like in therapy, like music, like really chime in on that piece as a modality, like. And when you were telling me, you both were telling me you musical theater, I'm like, oh my goodness, like how many people in the world that don't even know that that exists, that now can hear this and say, wait a minute, this could help someone that they love through a hard time. So what you do is like, that is so awesome.
Thank you.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very rewarding career. I find that, you know, we are constantly pouring into other people, but I find that our job is very like cyclical, I guess, if that makes sense, because our cup is constantly refilled by seeing the benefit that music has on people.
Absolutely.
Just bringing that to them in a time that's really difficult in their lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how do you, because I'm sure you develop relationships, and even though, you know, professionally you're supposed to have this separation, but I mean, we're all human. So heartstrings get pulled on. So how do you both like deal with self-care and take care of yourself?
Yeah. I think grief and loss is something that you really have to deal with when you work in hospice. I've had a nurse tell me, you know, the day that you stop crying over patients is probably the day you need to get out of hospice, because that's how important it is, because you've lost, you know, the humanity, that heart compassion for your patients. And so it is really important. And I always tell interns to have self-care methods, because you are going to be dealing with grief and loss more than normal people when you're working with it every day. And so I think for me personally, music really helps creating something with that patient. If we're creating like doing legacy work with the patient, playing that to honor them, you know, is really helpful. Being there for the families to help them process their grief is kind of helpful to process your own grief alongside of that. I definitely find that having a best friend who works in hospice music therapy is ideal. Like we talk to each other on the phone every single day, and we just talk about our day, because, you know, as much as I talk to my husband about it, or, you know, my supervisor about it, there's no one that gets it like she gets it, because she's going through it too. You know, and so just like telling her a story about a frustrating patient, or an awesome patient story, or hey girl, like I don't know why this one hit differently, but like this one hit differently, like having her hear me out is always the best self-care, like being heard and expressing that, you know.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, I think along with that, and when I think of self-care in with the work that we do, self-care comes in all different forms.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that with us, having boundaries is such a big form of self-care, because music is our career, but it's also our hobby and our passion.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing when to turn off at the end of the day and stop focusing on our patients' needs, the family's needs, and moving towards what can I do for me, involving what I love with music.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really kind of how our business was born. We turned to songwriting for ourselves, and began back in May. I wrote a song for my mom for Mother's Day. And so it just kind of evolved in that way. It was such a natural, a natural thing for us.
So I started doing these interviews during COVID, because everybody knows that listens. I traveled around and I sold soap and all these different things at different fairs around Washington. And so then I started doing the interviews and meeting different people. So what I'm hearing from you, and it's really cool how I met you too, because I just saw a little blue circle on my Instagram, and I'm like, oh, who's this? And I looked, and I'm like, ooh, they're really interesting. Like, oh, wow. I was like, kept being impressed. I'm like, ooh, I'm putting them on my radar to interview. So are you telling me that you started this in May, like during COVID?
Yeah. So Melody Box Co., our small business, was born May 2020 during a pandemic, which actually we're very proud of, that we've been able to start a business during a pandemic.
Yeah, because that's my getting the bus driver around the neighborhood 3 times point that I was trying to make was the fact that you guys did it during COVID, which is like why I started doing the interviews. I wanted to talk to women who were pivoting during COVID, essentially, and then I started seeing like creative business women also needing an outlet for self-care, and then to hear that you created a business during the time when people wanted to shut down emotionally, mentally, but you decided to go a different route, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, pat each other on the back. Yeah, there you go. Yes.
I think I thought about it like that until you just said it. Like, I've never thought, I think that's definitely our intention.
Mm-hmm.
So Melody Box Co. Is a songwriting business that Josie and I created. And we took what is our experience being music therapists, and what we found we actually have like a natural talent for when we're together is putting people's lives into lyrics and creating something beautiful from whatever they give us. And so this started in May. Like Josie said, she was writing a song for her mom for Mother's Day as a gift. And she called me up and she was singing it for me, and I was like blown away. I was like, this is amazing. And she's like, yeah, I got to finish it later. I'm like, oh no, we're finishing it right now. Like, let's just write this song. And I was so hyped. And we wrote the entire song over the phone, in May during the pandemic. And that was when we both were like, oh wow, we're kind of like good at this maybe. Like, what if we did this for other people? And it was absolutely what you said, a way where everyone's shutting down and we want to open up people's hearts. And we just thought, how cool would it be to give the gift of a song, especially for people who aren't musicians? Like, they shouldn't be limited just because you're not a musician, that you can't have a personalized, custom song written for your loved one. And so we got online and we were looking around and we found out that like this isn't a very common thing at all. And yeah, so Melody Box Co. was developed, and we've been doing pretty well. It's been awesome.
Yeah, amazing. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's this man. Oh, you want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say, I think it's, during this crazy year that we've had, it really does test a person and how they're going to respond to it. And I think, you have to choose how you respond. I mean, I know we are affected in whatever way we might be, but still being able to bloom and blossom whenever, things are really challenging. I think that's so important, continuing to be creative and think of other ideas out, maybe a little bit outside of your comfort zone. So it has been a chance. I mean, this was a chance. We didn't really know how it would go, but 3 months in, it seems to be doing. So
yeah, we're meeting so many new people, hearing so many stories, which is our favorite part. It's like getting to hear people's stories and their thoughts and their words, and then just adding a little bit of like love and music to it, and then seeing their response, which is always the best part of it all.
See, self-care is like, you know, and that's just beautiful, being able to and see that from other people. So, well, everyone, I was able to work closely with Josie and Sarah, and they created a song for Liberate and Lather. And so today we're going to use that as an example, and they're going to walk us through how they go through the creative process of writing a song using our theme song that you have yet to hear, because it's a surprise, but we're going to reveal it today.
So Angie reached out to us via Instagram. Circumstantially, I found her page, probably hashtag small business things, and I liked a lot of her stuff, and so she connected with us, and she said, you know, have you ever thought about making a song for a podcast? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm ready. Like, let's do this. And so how Melody Box works is you go to our website, and you fill out a contact form, and then we'll have a consultation like this. So we had a Zoom meeting with Angie, and we asked her some questions about what the goal was for her song, what needed to be included, which in this case was Liberate and Lather, which is the name of her business and her podcast. So we wanted to include that. And then we often go through genres, what kind of style of music a person enjoys, their favorite artists, instrumentation, what kind of things. And so for Angie, she has very unique tastes kind of across the board, which was a fun challenge for us. We loved it. And she definitely loves the Afro beats vibes plus reggae. What else did she say? Ghanaian music.
It's a little bit everything.
R&B. I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do. Like, it was like, we're ready for it. And so we asked her also just to tell us some things, her values, what represents her brand, because this was the first time we had done a song for a brand. So why Liberate and Lather? And it was really neat. She told us about how lathering kind of goes with her soap business, where you can clean yourself up, you can get pretty, you can get dolled up on the outside, but if you're not working through your inner emotions, they're still going to be there. So you have to liberate yourself. So it's not just, you know, washing away and looking good. No, you have to deal with the stuff on the inside. And Angie talked about how much self-care goes along with that liberation and the different methods. So Angie loves journaling and talking to people, not isolating, you know, and so we tried to include all this. So we're jotting it down. And then we, go ahead.
No, we just began after that. She gave us so much, Angie, you gave us so much great content for the creation of your song, and we just took it from there. After our meeting, we sat down and pretty much wrote the majority of the song.
Yeah. So
you guys gave me 3 samples over the weekend, and so like everybody, I called everybody and their mama. I was like, okay, so here's the 3 samples. What do you think? And I said, I already know one that I don't like. And they're like, ooh, which one you don't like, you know? And I was like, not saying like it was bad. I'm just saying like as one I prefer, is not my favorite, right? And so they were like, okay, they tried to guess. And I was like, no. And I'm like, okay. And then it was so fun, like calling everybody and like having them like be a part of it and listen to the different music samples that you guys sent me. And it just built anticipation. So it was awesome. Yeah. So thank you so much.
course. So what we kind of do is we pick up a guitar, we pick up a notepad, and we try to come up with a chord progression that fits into the genre. So we kind of went with like the R&B vibe for the chord progression. And
yeah, sometimes we'll listen to some of the top songs by those specified musicians just to kind of get a feel for, you know, their style, and then we just play around. Like, we don't really have a structure per se. It's just, I don't know, the two of us together bouncing ideas off of one another. So
Yeah.
Sarah usually she'll just come up with something on guitar, and I come in humming something, and it turns into a phrase. You know, before you know it, it's a verse.
Yeah, so kind of the first verse, I explained to you what Angie said, and so this is what we came up with.
At the end of the day, you can wash the dirt away, but no matter how much you shine, the emotions will stay. We're all on a journey, we move and exist the same. Transformation, the trek within, internal freedom is to gain.
So that's kind of where we came with the beginning. And then, of course, we wanted to implement the self-care techniques, because that is what this podcast is all about, is self-care. So we came up with this next part, just talking about the things that Angie recommended to us, which we took away, and we absolutely like had new self-care techniques to implement just after our consultation with you, Angie. So that's very helpful. So this next part.
Write it down, talk it out. Sometimes we gotta slow it down. Free yourself, make your claim, hold on to the peace you found.
Hold on to it.
Yes, hold on to that peace.
Especially in this time of uncertainty, you know, it's like, you know, you have, once you find it, it's like protect it at all costs.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to be very intentional with that, with self-care and everything, you know, just taking care of ourselves. It's so very important, you know, when things are good and when things are bad, just that constant, you know, checking in with yourself and making sure, okay, am I good? Or what do I need to, you know, process? How do I process that? And I love how journaling is your form of self-care. It's so helpful to just get it out. You know, it's so therapeutic to just write something down that you're feeling is weighing you down on the inside. And it's liberating to do that. So
definitely.
Yeah, I call it my therapist in the box, because I always pull it out, right? And, you know, your journal's not going to tell anybody your business.
True.
Well, let me tell you what Josie told me today. You're like, no, your journal's not going to do all that. You know?
So we'd love to share the finished product. So after we came up with that part, that's when production came into play, and we wanted to add like a good beat to get the reggae feel, the Afro vibe. And so we were hoping we could share the final product.
Yes. So I have that here. So I'll go ahead and hit play. Without any technical difficulties.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let's just reset it.
day. You can wash the dirt away. But no matter how much you shine, the emotions will stay. We're all on a journey. We move and exist the same. Transformation, trapped within an internal freedom. It's the game. Write it down, talk it out. Sometimes we gotta slow it down. Free yourself, make your claim. Hold on to the peace you have. Liberate another. Liberate another.
Yay. So we need to go to the Caribbean or Bora Bora.
Yes. Bora Bora.
And blast this song. Like, was those girls down on the beach stop playing that one song? Like, we're here. Yes. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. I'm so happy. I love it.
Yeah, and just to like create a song that's you know, like that's just such a beautiful thing.
Yes, and thank you so much for giving the opportunity to do something a little bit different than what we, you know, have been doing. It's really cool to create a song for a podcast.
Yeah.
So
yes, I'm really excited. And the beautiful thing too that they did for me is that they spliced it up for me so that I can have it for my intro. And then of course, this will be made available for all of you who are rocking with Liberate and Lather. So you'll be able to get this and jam with it when you get ready in the morning, when you feel like you're having a bad day, someone got on your nerves at work, just go to your desk and put this in. Maybe you're at home and somebody on Zoom got on your nerves, right? We're all working in different situations these days. So we all need a little self-care and a little bit of liberate and lather.
True. Absolutely.
So at the beginning, Sarah and Josie told you how to get into contact with them. They're at melodyboxco.com. So if you're interested in receiving their services or learning more for your loved one, they're definitely there for you to help you and assist you in any way they can.
Yeah. You can also reach us on Instagram at melodyboxco and on Facebook, facebook.com/melodyboxco. And our email, if you'd like to reach us directly, that is create@melodyboxco.com. Yeah.
Well, that is all the treats that we have for you today. So we really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, and we really hope you enjoy our jam as much as I love hearing it and they loved creating it. So definitely hit us up on our social media and let us know what you thought about the song. We would love to hear your feedback. And then also, if you want the journaling prompts, you can go to liberateandlouder.com and click under journaling, and you can sign up for our prompts if you want those in your inbox monthly. So, and definitely hit up melodyboxco.com for more information on Sarah and Josie. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.